Hi, everyone. This is Deborah Baska, and I'm so honored that you have allowed me to be a guest on your team call tonight. I'm a little nervous because this is like, walking in the new kid in school to a classroom where everybody knows everybody, and the teacher says, "Come up and tell us about yourself, new student." So if you followed my story, I'm an introvert. And so walking into crowds of new people is something that makes me have a little bit of a sweaty palm, but that's okay. I'm excited to do this. And I wanted to, before I get started on the topic of our call, I wanted to share a little bit about me and my story, maybe some things you didn't know, maybe some things you do, but just learn it a little different way. And then we'll go into talking about the main event. But I have been a coach for a little over 4 years, and I started out in corporate America. So I was building my business while I was working a full-time job. I was a vice president of marketing. Now, recently I did a post on my wall, or actually on my like page, that gave a little bit of a timeline of what brought me to where I'm at today. And so I will share that timeline with you. And I started out, I said 10 years ago, I was an alcoholic. I realized I was an alcoholic. About 8 years ago, I went into recovery. So I am still in recovery. Yay. So, about 7 years ago, I decided that, 7 years ago, I got promoted to my dream job. Think about that. Now I'm sober and I get a promotion. I get more money. I was like, this is pretty sweet. Wow, life is good. You do the right things, you behave right, you get rewarded. Over the course of the next year or two in that job, things kind of went, and we had some management changes. And as I really started to get my life in order and focus more on kind of living, according to a higher power and just really prioritizing my life, it became really obvious that this job and myself were not mixing very well at all. But before that happened, while that was happening, I also, about 6 years ago, then decided I wanted to get back into my fitness. So I had taken a 10-year hiatus from fitness. So of course, I had kids, I had, this career that was on the rise. Then I went through this whole period of, drinking myself into oblivion, and all that was kind of, like I said, things were getting better in my life. And I decided, okay, I need to get back to that because I had just turned 40, and I looked in the mirror and I just saw this sad, old, shriveled up little woman. I mean, seriously, that's my physical transformation, is being a shriveled up old little woman to the person I am today, which is strong. And I don't think I'm shriveled up anymore. And I don't feel old. And I don't think I look as old as I did. And I'm 47 now. But my fitness is what led me to Beachbody. So P90X was the program of choice. Did it with my husband and my kids. My husband is a complete transformation success story. He's lost 50 pounds. He has completely reversed his health. He's reversed his diabetes and his high cholesterol. And his doctor truly believes that, he just keeps saying, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because I have not ever seen this happen. Just completely reversed his health. My husband's 56. He has completed like 14 rounds of P90X, and now he's doing Body Beast and a Sandy Max 30. So Beachbody completely changed our health. It brought me back to being a strong woman, not only in my mind, but in my body. It brought my husband back to health. So timeline continues. About 4.5 years ago, I lost my promotion, my dream job. That came to an end. I was asked to leave. And again, as I told you, things were not mixing well there. So I was asked to resign. And this was 1 month shy of my 20-year anniversary. So this is a company that I thought I was going to retire at. I was pretty depressed about that, to be quite honest, because I still had 20 more years until I could retire. And that was the cause of a lot of angst. I mean, it was the only thing in my life that was just really causing me a lot of anxiety, was my job. So after I got finished with the betrayal, kind of that whole sense of, oh, I can't even, shock, then I went over to this whole area of joy because also 4.5 years ago, I had become a Beachbody coach. And for the last 6 months, I'd been building my business. And that's really where I want to start this story because, you know, like I said, like a lot of you, I was working a lot of hours. I had a very important career. That's what I told my sponsor when we did our Getting Started Right call. I said, I have a very important job. I'm very busy and I really don't think I'll be doing a lot with this because I just don't have the time. But I will say that just, you know, I started getting on national wake-up calls because I loved fitness. I loved the lifestyle. You know, it was almost like taking me back to the day when I was, you know, young and I taught fitness classes and, you know, I had to go and I'm like, it kind of made me feel like that person again. It reinvigorated me. And at the back of my mind, I thought, you know, it's pretty cool. Gosh, you know, it's pretty cool that people are doing this for a living, you know, but I got this job thing. I got it good right now. I mean, why would I want to mess that up? So I was building my business, but, you know, I was doing it in between work. I was getting up in the morning. I loved it. It wasn't work to me. You know, I had my daily list of activities. I was told exactly what I needed to do, and I always did them. And that's something that I need to tell you is that I did what I was told to do. Because I started thinking, well, you know what? You know, it would be kind of fun. This could be a fun little hobby. It makes me feel good. You know, I do this sucky job all day, and then I have this to look forward to, and I'm making a few extra bucks. And that's important to know, too, because my husband had just retired from his corporate job. So, you know, I still had the stable income. You know, I was, you know, this is before I lost the job, right? When I lost that job, I mean, there was like paralysis in my family of fear. We had never not had stability. You know, I had the insurance at my company. You know, my husband, he's like, well, if I would have known this was coming, I wouldn't have quit my job and started doing this thing. I mean, it was very frightening. I mean, we have a big mortgage payment. We had 2 car payments. We had a kid going to college, 2 more following, you know, close behind. We had debt. We had credit cards. We had all this. We had this lifestyle that needed 2 6-figure incomes. So you can imagine when, you know, my husband's salary, you know, he was in real estate. So that's not like an every week kind of paycheck thing, right? And then mine was like, anyway. So that's where I started. And my first check as a Beachbody coach was $29.36. When I became a full-time Beachbody coach, my income for that month was $629. Okay, so, you know, when I was working my full-time job, I thought, you know, hey, extra $600 a month, that's pretty cool. You know, we can put that in the vacation fund. We can go out to some dinners. That's pretty nice, honey. Look, $600. I'm like, oh, that's like $7,200 a year. That's a nice raise. When $600 is your monthly income, it doesn't quite seem like enough anymore. So I set about, and I sat down on my computer and I literally was like, okay, how am I going to take this $600 a month and turn it into 6-figure income? Because that's what I'm up against. That's what I have to do. I have to replace that. And I looked at leaders. I looked at, you know, Hillary Kelly's, and she's my upline. And I looked at Lindsay Matway, and I listened to these stories of other people. And I thought, well, they're doing it. And they keep saying that if they can do it, I can do it. And they keep saying, you know, just keep telling yourself, why not me? And they keep saying, if I do, just do what we tell you to do, and success leaves tracks. I mean, I have all these things playing in my head. You know, I drank the Kool-Aid all the way. And I started doing that. And I had been doing that. But when I sat down to try to figure out how am I going to make this $600 be a full-time income, I was kind of stumped. Because I thought, well, I'm already doing what they tell me to do. I'm doing my personal development, which I have to tell you, friends, changed my life. Absolutely changed my life. And I know Jolene is a huge proponent of personal development. It changed my life. You can't do this if you don't do personal development. Do not think you are the one person that's going to be a successful Beachbody coach and not do that. Just don't think it. Because I know some people who do. You know, I was doing these things already. And I think it was on the last call of the year. It was like January or December 2011, again, I'm still doing my stuff. It's like 2 months in, I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to go get a job if I don't start making this happen. But you know what? Nobody was beating down my door. For 20 years at the same company, earning the money I was making in a niche market that I'd been in. I didn't know any other industry. Nobody was knocking at my door. So talk about being hungry. But anyway, I'll get back to that. I was on a call, and I think Carl Deichler said it. He's like, okay, we're gearing up for the new year. And here's the thing. If you want more, he goes, it's great to do your vital behaviors, to do your 3 invites a day and your 3 contacts a day and your 3 thises and your 3 that's. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. He says, but you know what? Christine Dwyer, she's not doing 3. Lindsay Madway's not doing 3. And I don't know that he gave me a number, but he made it very clear. They're doing way more. Okay? So, and I have a call. I want to tell you this. I have a call I did last week for my team. It's on my YouTube. It's called Top 10 Power Inviting Tips. And I will tell you in that call how I took those 3 invites a day, and maybe those 3 invites are taking you 30 minutes, or maybe they're taking you 45 minutes, or maybe whatever. Maybe the adding 3 people or 5 people a day is the thing that takes you forever. I will teach you how to do those things in a very short period of time. When I did that call last week, right before the call, I had 30 minutes, and I sat down and I did 50 invites before that call in 30 minutes. But my point is, got to do more. But my point really is, you got to be hungry. So don't wait until you're as hungry as I was, where you don't have a job and you don't have an income. Don't wait until you're laid off, until you're fired, until you have a catastrophic situation that takes all of your savings. Don't wait until, whatever. Don't wait until you're at desperation's door. You need to work your business today like you were in that point of desperation. You need to work your business like your life depends on it. And that's only if you want this to be a significant part of your income. There's hobby coaches, and I tell you, I have a lot of hobby coaches on my team, and really, they rock. And they're great advocates of the products, and they're always in the challenges, and they're great. But if you want to make an income with this, you need to work this like your life depends on it. This is how you're going to feed your kids. If I don't do this stuff every day, and not just 3 a day, but if I don't do 20, then my kids are going to go hungry tomorrow. I mean, that sounds dramatic, but that's how I work my business. And I have to tell you, I don't know, I was working my business and I was doing well. I was doing everything. I was doing my power hour. I was doing it. But I didn't have that same hunger because I was comfortable. And I knew, but you know what? So many times, and I was comfortable. I could see other people doing other things, but I was still kind of like, well, I don't really know if that could happen to me. I mean, I'm not like that. I'm an introvert. I don't have a large social circle. I'm really not social at all. I'm really not that likable. I'm not really very good at talking to people. I hate sales. I suck at that. But all those things. I really have convinced myself that, I'm really not. That's really not something that most people can do. Well, most people can. Most people won't, because they're not going to work it like that. And again, that's something that Jolene kind of wanted me to talk to you about too. It's just the whole, how are you working your business? How are you owning it? I mean, I'm on a great upline team, but I have to tell you, nobody held my hand. Google was my best friend. And I didn't really know that much about YouTube then, but today YouTube is my best friend. And still, I mean, if you don't know the answer to something, before you get on your Facebook, on your group team coach page and say, no, I don't know if Shakeology is safe for breastfeeding moms. Google it. I mean, seriously, own your knowledge, own your work. I didn't have anybody telling me what to do every day. I had the power list, right? You all have that too, and I had accountability because, I had a checklist, and actually we had like a weekly call where we got on that call and we had to quote, we had to read out our accountability, like how many invites we did, how many contacts, how many shares, and then we had to recap our personal development. And there was people that got on that, and I was not going to be that person that got on that call and didn't have that done. I wasn't. So I'm telling you, I would stay up late the night before doing my personal development or reading the chapters to get caught up. Or if I said I was going to invite 20 people, I didn't go to bed when I'd only invited 18 because I wasn't going to be the one to get on the call and not have done the work. But you know what? A lot of people did get on that call and hadn't done the work. And know what? I don't even know their names because they're not doing Beachbody anymore. There was one other girl, and she's an elite coach as well. The rest of them, I don't know what happened to them. Don't be that. Be the person that's going to be here that commits to this and does what you need to do, even when you don't think it's working. My daughter's a brand new coach. She's 18, and I have to tell you, she's proof positive that when you do the training and all the stuff, I mean, like, she's almost like a little test ground. It works. I mean, she hit Success Club 10 her first month. She became Emerald all on her own. She told me, Mom, I want to do it myself. I'm like, oh, well, that's an unusual request, but okay. But now, things have kind of slowed down. It's August, right? But anyway, no excuse. But, she's kind of, and I see her every day working, and she's doing the work. She's using the trackers. She's tuning into the calls. She's, inviting, and she told me one time, she's like, I said, yeah, this is going to be a little uncomfortable. And she's like, Mom, everything you're having me do is uncomfortable. But my point of this is, don't stop doing the work, even if it doesn't look like it's producing results. I started with a $29 paycheck. That was my paycheck for the month, for my first month as a coach. I struggled every single month to hit Success Club 5. But I did it because I was told that's what successful coaches do. I didn't go to bed on the 30th when we had 31 days. I didn't go to bed if I didn't have that done. I got creative. I got really brave and started asking people I didn't think I would ever ask. I started thinking of new ways to talk to people. I introduced the business opportunity to everybody because back then, if they bought Shakeology and signed up as a coach, you got 2 points. Other than that, it was just 1 point. So today you can hit Success Club with 3 customers. Back in the day, you really had to have 5 because it was 1 point for Shakeology. There was no challenge packs. And you had to sign 1 coach a month. You had to hit Success Club. And I was told you have to hit Success Club. So that's what I did. And I didn't sign up any friends. Still don't have any friends in the business. Don't have any friends that really care they may care, but they're not actively engaged in what I'm doing. I mean, it's not that. I'm not that person. Oh, you knew so many people. No. Did it the old-fashioned hard way, just by doing what I was told. So, takeaways from this long conversation is hunger. How badly do you want this? I mean, you can tell yourself that, if things are okay. I think about Scotty Hobbs. You've all seen his story and how hard he worked because he was hungry for a different way of life. Things were okay. They were feeding their family, right? Things were okay. They had a house to live in. Things were okay. And if Scotty Hobbs didn't become a millionaire Beachbody coach, things would probably still be okay. There's nothing wrong with okay. But you know what? That doesn't have to be your destiny. In fact, that isn't your destiny. Many of us think that that's our destiny, that there's there's this select percentage of people that are destined for greatness. And then there's this bigger set of people that are destined for okayness. And then this other group that's destined for, struggle. That's not it. We're not pre-chosen with these things. We choose them ourselves. So I'm just really passionate about that because I have to pinch myself every day because I should not be here. I should not be doing this as a business because I am not the kind of person that's good at this at all. I'm not. Like I said, an antisocial, unlikable, as I was told in corporate America, small social circle, not good at chit chat, don't know how to make small talk. I shouldn't be successful at this, but I am because I learned, I did what I was told, and I wanted it really, really bad. I wanted it more than I wanted the status quo, right? Okay, so let's go on to my notes. So I already told you about my call about how to invite, and that's really important because as I was putting these notes together, I thought, well, so much of how to close. So the topic of this talk is getting your customers to yes, otherwise known as closing the deal. I don't like to use that word because it sounds really salesy, but that's what it is. Okay, it's getting our customers to a decision. But a lot of getting them to a decision is all about what you do up at the top. It's about your inviting process, your forming. So number one, I'm going to give you 10 tips, and I can share these notes with you in your team page. I'll give them to Jolene. But number one is you got to start with a good inviting process. So look at my call, review the things that Jolene has shared with you, Google it, YouTube it. You'll find all kinds of great tips, but start with a good inviting process. Number two is you have to know your purpose. So what is your purpose when you're talking to a client? Is your purpose to get a Success Club point? Is it to get a sale? I suggest that you must know that what your purpose is, and you have to be focused on your outcome. And your outcome is to educate, to inform, to build a relationship. If you don't, and especially that last one, build a relationship. If you haven't built a relationship, then you will not have, you will stop right there. You know, you'll hear a lot about don't become so emotionally attached to the outcome. And that means don't become emotionally attached to the outcome of a sale or a Success Club point. But I do suggest that you become invested in the relationship, invested in sharing good information, invested in educating them. If you ever start to feel like you're getting defensive about the conversation, like if somebody, I mean, I can remember this used to happen to me a lot, especially when you start talking about Shakeology. And, you know, I can remember I would start to get defensive when people started kind of pushing back at me and, yeah, but, you know, I can do this and that. And, you know, it's cheaper. And I would try to tell them, you know, this is why this is the right thing. And then they'd keep pushing back at me and I'd keep giving them and they'd push back. I can remember some pretty heated Facebooking. And that never ended well. I didn't feel good about it. In fact, I felt like I should apologize. And now if I ever go there, I will. I'll say, I'm sorry. You know, my job here is not to convince you. And this is key. I'm not here to convince you of anything. I'm just trying to share information and make sure you have the right information to make a good decision. And so that's something for you to even write down on your notes when you're doing your inviting. And when you're doing your follow-ups is remind yourself, I am not here to convince anybody, because that goes into number 3. The number 3 tip on how to get your customers to yes is really be aware of your posture. And I don't just mean sitting up straight. I mean your posture, how you present yourself, what you believe in, what you stand for. Because if you are convinced yourself that Shakeology is the bee's knees, that there is nothing better, there is no shake that's comparable, as I am convinced, then you don't have to convince anybody else, right? It's just like kind of having an argument about politics. You know, you're never going to convince this person over here that your way is right. That's not the job. The job is to share information and educate. And I will tell them that. I will just say, you know, like I said, if it seems like you're getting pushback, I will just flat out say, I'm not here to convince you. I'm really not. I just want to make sure that I share information with you. You know, because sometimes people will start telling you stuff they heard or stuff they saw or stuff they read about. And you're like, you know, well, let me share with you what I know, or this is what I've experienced. And again, I'm just here to share information. So know your posture. Be matter of fact with the process. I always go into the conversation assuming that they will want to say yes. They can smell your fear. They can smell your uncertainty. It will come across in your typed out words. It will come across in your voice. If you feel apologetic about what you're doing or what you're representing, it will come across. If you think Shakeology is too expensive, so will your customers. If you think this business is like not really something that most people can be successful with, then you're not going to sign up coaches that want to work the business. If you believe that people can do your challenge group and not have Shakeology or not buy the workout program, then they're not going to. So you need to assume that people want to say yes, and you need to be matter of fact. You tell them as a coach, this is what you need to do. Now, again, all of that is predicated on your good inviting process. So you need to make sure in your inviting process that you understand what their why is, right? So a big part of closing is reiterating the why. Reiterate their why. And I also advocate, this is all in number 3, posture, have a good closing script. And I use the word script because I believe in scripts. That's how I am able to invite 50 people in 30 minutes. I don't know, does that sound like a lot in 30 minutes? Does it? Okay. Because 30 minutes is a big chunk of time, right? But I think that's a lot in 30 minutes. How can I do that? It's because I have a script. And it's not hi, my name is Deborah. Would you like to join my challenge group and lose 10 to 15 pounds in 21 days? Let me tell you about it. No, it's, hey, Sue. Hey, girl. Did you see that I'm about ready to start my Labor Day challenge? Do you have some fit goals you'd like to hit before the summer ends? Copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste 50 times. When I do my next challenge, it's going to be different than that. It's not going to say, do you want to join my Labor Day challenge and get fit before the end of summer? It's going to say, hey, back to school. Can you believe it? Now that the kids are gone, you ready to get back in shape and get back in the group? It's going to be different, but it's still going to be a script. Same with closing. So here is something I might just share my screen with you that I really like. And this is at the point when you're talking to somebody and they get to the point of saying, yeah, that sounds really great. You've shared with them, all about the challenge. You've told them that we're going to do the 21-day fix and we're going to drink Shakeology and we're going to be in this group and it's going to be great. You said you wanted to lose 10 pounds, by the end of the summer. And I think this is going to be a great option for you. You're going to have a lot of success with this if you commit to this. Great. Okay. Now, great. Now, so what do I need to do next? This is that point where you really want to get to, right? Like, man, I have trouble even getting there. But this is where you're at. Do you sometimes, after you tell people what's next, do you sometimes get crickets? I mean, we all get crickets at times. But here's the matter-of-fact way to do it. Let me share my screen. Share screen. Okay, so here's a little script that we use. So they've already said, yeah, I really, tell me more. How do I get started? So here's a script, and I'll share this doc with you. Okay, I'm really excited to get you on board. There are 2 options for enrollment, and the second option really doesn't make sense, but I want to put it out there for you. Okay, so now I'm really matter of fact, right? And what am I going to suggest? I'm going to tell them how to sign up with a challenge pack with the wholesale account, aka coach account, right? Because the C word kind of scares people. I'm going to tell them how to do that and tell them that they're going to get, 25% discount. You'll be plugged into my team page for all the, coach benefits. And then it says you can cancel anytime, no penalty. And then option 2, as a retail customer, you can just pay for your challenge pack and pay full price. Yeah, like I said, it just makes sense to sign up as a personal use coach and get your Shakeology, etc. And then you send them the link, right? You send them the link that says, you send them the first link that says wholesale account. You send them the second link that says retail account and see which one they click. So let's assume they click one of the links, right? So now you've got your customer to yes because you've been very matter of fact. You've assumed they're going to do it. You've given them an option, and chances are you're going to get them to sign up at least as a wholesale account, as a personal use coach, right? So that's where you want to get to. You can have scripts for other things as well. I mean, so that's where we're going to go on. So number 4 is you might utilize an incentive. So you've told somebody about your challenge, they're like, yeah, that sounds really great. You've sent them the information and they haven't done it yet. And you maybe send them a message and they aren't responding back. You can see they saw it. Number one, if people see your message and they don't respond, don't assume that they're not wanting to do it anymore. There could be many reasons why they're not responding. Maybe they read it, they were scrolling and read it while they were waiting in the grocery line, and then they just forgot about the message. There's a lot of reasons. So I always assume that they're still interested. I always assume the best of people. I don't ever put on my inferiority complex and say, oh, they're avoiding me. Oh, they just hate me. Oh my gosh, you must think I'm a total weirdo. I don't ever do that. I assume, because you know what? I'm convinced that I have something very important and significant to offer people. And I'm doing it from the best place in my heart. Yeah, I make a really great living doing it, but I also want to help people. It is serving value. So I don't have any apology for following up with these people. But you can offer an incentive. So sometimes if I'm kind of slow in getting people, I have a lot of fence sitters. I'll think about, okay, what can I do to get people to move? Well, one thing you can do, you can even post it on your Facebook page. You've seen this all over the place. Offer a sampler pack. Offer a fix-it cookbook. I've done that. Offer a call with you. Maybe, if you're working with challengers, offer a free 30-minute consultation and, put a value on it, value of $200, whatever. Put your, time of what, you earn as a coach. Whatever. You don't have to put a value on it, but you could. I'm just saying. So there's a lot of things you can offer. Maybe they don't even have to cost you anything, but they create a sense of importance about what you have. So you can, what I like to do is I like to post that on my page, a lot of times, and then I can go back to these customers that aren't responding to me, and I can say, hey, I just wanted to let you know that this weekend I'm able to offer a free Fix-It cookbook with a 21-day fix challenge pack. I know you were wanting to get that. Can I help you get that ordered today? Or maybe you could, or maybe even again, number 5 on the list is create exclusivity. So maybe you say, I have 5 of these to give away, or maybe it's to the next person. Maybe you just have 1, right? So you could contact all the people that have expressed interest, all the fence sitters, and say, hey, want to let you know that to the next person that orders their challenge pack, I've got this free Fix-It cookbook to give away. I really would love to give it to you. Are you ready to get that ordered? So you could offer a Shakeology sampler pack that you put together. I usually have a box of single serving packets. Even customers that are drinking Shakeology, to offer, to get them to order perhaps a new challenge pack, or maybe maybe they did 21-day fix and they're ready for size, with a size challenge pack, I have a three pack of Shakeology, and they like to try new flavors, right? So, I have a lot of customers that they go all over that because they want to try greenberry and strawberry and vanilla because they've just been drinking chocolate. And that doesn't cost me anything extra because I already have it in my pantry. Number 5, I said, is exclusivity. So when you promote your posts, when you promote your groups, I have only 5. I'm looking for 5 women. I'm looking for 5 couples. I'm looking for 10, whatever your magic number is. And then when you're messaging people privately, because again, in the inviting process, you must do private messaging. You cannot avoid it. Even though the introvert here really, really tried hard to avoid private messaging people, you can't avoid it. You have to do it. So in your private message, you can say, hey, I have 4 more spots left. And again, did you still want that spot? A private group, that's another way to create exclusivity. If you run free challenge groups, or you have maybe a motivational group, like I call it an everyone plays kind of a challenge or group. Sometimes you'll have people that want to join this and they don't want to get a challenge pack. They don't want to do any of the things that you're going to be doing in the group, but they want to be in your group. Well, you can call it a private group. And that is a nice way for you to be able to say very nicely, this is for my private group. And, in return for, my customers in this group giving me their full commitment to do the programs that I'm recommending, then I am going, I owe my commitment back to them to, whatever. I didn't say that real great, but you know what I'm getting at. It allows you to say very nicely, I'm going to reserve my private coaching for those that are committed to doing this program. If you ever have people that want to join your groups, they don't want to do anything that you're doing in your group, I ask them why. I just kindly, and I'm also a red personality, in case you didn't know that. So I'm an introvert, but I'm a red, which means I like to get to the point. Let's just do it. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. When I was a new coach, somebody'd say, I'm interested. I'd tell them everything they wanted to know about Shakeology, and I'd send it in 5 paragraphs, and nobody responded back. So I don't do that anymore. I had to learn to be a chit chatter. I had to learn to ask questions first and be interested, right, instead of interesting. So, I had to learn to do that. But I can say that, it's in my private group, and even with coaching, I do that. Hey, I'm mentoring 5 people. I'm mentoring 1. Maybe you want to mentor 1, right? Maybe it's 2. So create a sense of exclusivity. Number 6, create a sense of urgency. Last day. Especially with the 21-day fix stuff, I'm going to go back to every single person that ever talked to me about 21-day fix, and I'm going to send them a message and say, hey, I just wanted to remind you that the 21-day fix challenge pack special ends tomorrow. Absolutely, period, the end ends. I know you wanted to get the best price on that. Can I help you get that ordered today? Another thing I would do with a sense of urgency is, again, ask them, did you want that last spot? Or should I hold that spot for you? And you know what? Here's what you want. You want them to respond, right? So when you ask questions like that, it prompts them to respond. And I'm actually going to jump ahead to, I think it's another point down, but you want to get a response. Make it okay for them to say no. So when you ask them, hey, did you still want me to hold that spot for you? Or should I release it to somebody else? You've just now gave them permission to tell you no. And you may shudder at the thought, but shudder at the thought of them not responding forever and ever, and you waking up every day thinking, oh my gosh, I got to follow up with this person. I wonder if they still want to join that group. No, you want to know. Now come back and they may say, oh, thanks, I go ahead and give that spot to somebody else because, my car broke down and I have to buy a new transmission, and I thought I was going to be able to afford it this month and I just can't. See, they didn't want to tell you that. That's why they weren't responding. They were embarrassed. I've had people tell me that, I was just really embarrassed that I can't afford it now, and I thought I was going to be able to. And I tell them, oh my gosh, you don't have to be embarrassed. I know that stuff happens. I'm building the relationship. That's the important part about getting to closing the deal, right? Is not closing the door on anything. It's getting to an understanding of what's next. That's what you need to know. What's next? Is this going to go into a challenge pack right now? Is this going to go into a customer right now? Is it going to go into a coach? Maybe you just want to know if they'll come to your coach opportunity call. Whatever it is you're trying to get them to yes on, you just want to know what's next. And if they know that they're not going to do that challenge group with you this month, you want them to tell you that. There's nothing worse, in my opinion, than a no response. And so I feel like I've tweaked a lot of things over time to be able to get really good at getting people to give me a response. And I do that by letting them know it's okay. Whatever they tell me is okay. And so that's why, creating that sense of urgency. Did you still want that spot? It's the last day. Did you still want to get that? Or here's number 7 is ask a direct question. Did you change your mind? That would be the next part. Hey, it's the last day to get that challenge pack ordered, to get that special savings. Did you still want that, or did you change your mind? I always try to end any of these things with another question. If you've read Eric Worre's book, Go Pro, he talks about, every encounter is really setting up the next encounter. And that's when it really clicked to me that I'm not trying to get people to buy. I'm trying to create a relationship. No matter where the conversation goes, I want that relationship to continue. I always want there to be a next encounter. That's focus on outcome, the next encounter with this person. If they're pregnant, you know, they were going to buy the challenge pack, and then next week they come back and say, oh my gosh, I'm pregnant. And you're like, congratulations. Oh, snap. Now I don't get that challenge pack. Congratulations. That's so awesome. And maybe I'll plant a little seed about, you know, are you planning to stay fit while you're, you know, whatever. But at the end of the day, I want to continue that relationship. And maybe it's going to continue, you know, 9 months later when they tell me, yeah, be sure to hit me up, you know, after my pregnancy, you know. So make it okay. Ask that direct question. You know, another thing I might ask is, can I call you to help walk you through the process? So that's something that I'll use if, you know, people have said they're going to do it. Yeah, I'm going to order it tomorrow. Well, here's the thing you need to know. If somebody says they're going to order it tomorrow and you're ready to go to bed tomorrow night and they haven't ordered, it's time to follow up. I get that a lot. When is it time to follow up? Well, it's really nice if you set that next encounter, you know when it's time to follow up. And I don't always remember to do this, but if you remember, like when you like say you sent them that, hey, you know, here's the 2 options to enroll, no brainer way, or kind of, you know, pay more money way. Which one do you prefer? That's a direct question. Or when will you be able to get that done tonight? That's the will you be able to get that order tonight? Or should I expect to see that order come through tonight? A new coach enrollment. Should I expect to see that enrollment come through tonight? I want to know if I should be staying up looking for it. And, you know, sometimes you'll be having a conversation. This has happened to me this week, or it was last week. And I was talking with a coach and, you know, prospective coach, and she's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I can't wait. I sent her the link and I didn't come through, and a couple of days, and I'm like, hey, you know, I want to make sure you got that. Yeah. You know, I got it. And I said, oh, well, when should I expect to see that enrollment? It's probably not going to be till next week or so. I'm like, well, now I can quit watching the pot for the water to boil, right? Now I know it's not till next week. So again, you want to know, and then I can follow up. Hold on a sec. Okay. Almost done. Number 8, my rarely fails phrase. You may have heard me say this before if you've been on any calls before. It's the rarely fails phrase is what I call it. I was going to call it the never fails phrase, but it sometimes does. It's, I totally don't want to be a pain. So this is what happens. You know, you send them that, hey, here's the 2 ways to enroll, you know, no brainer way, pay more money way, you know, you ready to, you know, when should I look for that order? And they don't respond. And you can see they saw the message, but they haven't responded. You know, maybe you send them another message, say, hey, Julie, you know, you've created that sense of urgency. Hey, Julie, just wanted to make sure you knew that 21-day fix special ends tomorrow. You know, can I give you a call to help you get that ordered? Nobody ever says yes to giving me a call thing, but I offer it, right? Because it creates that sense of urgency. She still doesn't respond. Okay, so that's twice. And that's twice now she hasn't responded. So I could then put on my I'm paranoid hat and say, oh, Julie hates me. She's avoiding me. She's so sick of me. But I assume that Julie really needs what I have to offer. She knows that I'm a friend and I really want to help her. And so I'll send that the third one is, hey, Julie, I totally don't want to be a pain. Or I'll even say, I don't want to be a stalker girl. And if you're a guy, say, hey, I don't want to be a stalker dude. But I know you really were excited about this, about losing that 10 pounds before your class reunion, going back to their why, right? Did you change your mind? So now I've just, in that phrase, I've wrapped up, I've used a whole lot of the previous points that I recommended to you. I've wrapped them all up into one closing statement. And you know what? 9 times out of 10, Julie comes back. She's ignored me twice now, right? I can see she's seen my messages. She comes back and says, oh, Deb, you could never be a pain. I'm like, oh, really? Thank you so much. It makes me feel good. You know, because sometimes you do. You feel like you're a pain, but you're not, because you're doing what they need. They need you to be a coach. If they could make fitness their priority, they wouldn't be talking with you in the first place. So be a coach. oh, Deb, no, you could never be a pain. I so appreciate you following up with me, but duh. And then she's going to tell you why she can't do it right now. She's going to tell you what happened, what she was afraid to tell you before because she didn't want to hurt your feelings, right? And now you have a chance to really build that relationship and let her know, you know, it's okay. You know, if she has an objection, that maybe there's something you can give her, something to help her look at it a different way. Certainly, that I've done that, of course. You know, I just don't have the money right now, or, you know, this or that, or whatever. You know, you could say, you know, I just, you know, I'm doing this and I just don't think I'm going to have the time. You can reiterate, you know, why this would be a good fit for somebody that's short on time. But at the end of the day, you want Julie to know that if you don't do it, that's okay. You know, and sometimes I'll even ask them, you know, she'll just say, no, I've just decided that I can't afford it. And then my next question will be, oh, darn it. Well, what have you decided to do instead to lose that 10 pounds before your class reunion? What have you decided to do instead? I've brought them back to their why, right? I'm trying to remind them why this is important to them. And sometimes they'll tell you, well, I don't have a plan. You know, in which case you have the chance to be a friend and say, well, you know, I have this, you know, this free 30-day belly blast coming up. All you need to do is, you know, you can get access to a 30-day free trial of Beachbody On Demand, and I've got 30 days of workouts. You know, would that help? Would you like to do that? So it's nice to have some other options for them, right? So when they get to that point where they're telling you no, or not now, or why not, being able to give them some other suggestions. Oh, well, my next 5-day free clean eating group is coming up, you know, in 2 weeks. Shall I, you know, keep you posted on that? Oh, that would be great. Thank you so much. You still have something of value to offer, Julie, and now you're building credibility with her because she knows that you're not just trying to get a sale. She knows that you're in this for the right reason, and that is to help her be successful. My final point, number 10, is follow up. And this is really bad. Follow up till they do or die. And I don't mean that. I just mean follow up until you get a response, right? Follow up until you have that next encounter. And so that's why I said I follow up 2 to 3 times. So like I said, I'll do 2. And if I'm not getting any response after 2, I'll do that 3rd. I totally don't want to be a pain. And if they still don't respond, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try again later. Because if you watch my inviting process, you see I have a process. Nobody ever comes off my list. I mean, I can't think of, I mean, I'm sure there's probably been at least a couple people that have told me to get lost. I can't even think of who they were, although at the time I know it completely devastated me, and I had to talk to my husband to have him convince me that, you know, that I wasn't a creepy stalker person like they told me I was. But seriously, out of the hundreds of thousands, I won't say hundreds of thousands, hundreds to thousands of people I've helped in 4.5 years, I can't remember the 2 people that told me to get lost. So don't worry about it. Try again later. Nobody ever comes off the list, right? Because everybody that has a body needs to take care of their body, and you have a way to help them do that. So that's my top 10 tips on closing. And I so appreciate you letting me kind of use you as my guinea pig for putting this all together, just because it's, like I said, it's really helpful to have everything laid out so that now I can share it with my team and I can share with other coaches. But I'm going to stop recording, and then I will stay on the line for some questions if you guys have any questions you want to